Now let's go into mixing these drums proper. And I'll always start from my kick. That's how I work. Um, Stock plugins, waves plugins, anyone. I'll go. I mostly use waves when I'm mixing. And my go-to EQ will be the REQ6. Now I'm always looking to cut extreme low end, even on the kicks, because we're not going to actually hear some of these sounds. So this is from 20 thereabout. I'm trying to cut out subsonics. That frequency that is so low is not like we can hear it. And I'll cut it on most tracks in my mix because I don't want it to have a build up of and create probably some harmonics that I don't want in the mix. So I'll cut that off. I'll uh, probably do a little boost. Now this is the most important part for me here is that I do a dip somewhere. I'm not sure, but as I'm listening to the music, as I bring up the bass, I adjust this dip. And why am I doing this dip? Why am I doing this dip? It is basically to create space for my bass. So if I want my kick to be the lowest sounding instrument, I'm bumping it a bit and I'm creating space for my bass. That is going to avoid masking. Masking is when uh, frequencies are clashing. Well, so that's why we have our EQ. The EQ helps you to sculpt the sound how you want it. So I'll remove this a bit. So you hear how it sounds. Give it as with my kick. Now I might not need any compressor on my kick because it's a sample and or it was from a software instrument. And basically the levels are a bit pretty fine, so I won't do anything there. Now I'm going down to my snare. Now there's something I like doing with my snare. Okay, so first let me just copy an EQ. Let me just copy this EQ here. I'll reset the EQ. Uh-huh. And so first of all, I'm cutting out some. Just slight adjustment. Now, what I mostly do sometimes is if I want that bottom of the snare to sound, uh, I'll duplicate my snare. So I just duplicated the track there. So I call this snare duplicate, and then I would add a compressor to it. Now this compressor, I would compress it pretty hard. So I just raise my ratio to like 4, and then I'm pulling the threshold very well. Now you can hear the ring of the snare very well. You can hear that snare vibration. It's there and it's still elongated. So I do that. Um, I'll probably reduce the gains for that snare. Now that's with snare. Now for the hi hats, if I listen to the overheads, So listening to the overhead, I can hear the hi-hat slightly panned to the right, right? So I'll do that slightly to the right. Yeah. Now for my toms, let me quickly listen to how my toms sound. Starting from a general level, I would okay. Let's go over them one after the other. So from this tom, just going to go with stock plugin. Like this. Next tom, now for my floor tom, I am going to replace it. That is setting. I think for my tom 3, I'm also going to replace it. Uh, and this replacement is going to be to augment. That's basically what I'll do. I put replacements to augment them. But before I do that, this is how I would process all the toms generally. So on the tom bus, I would use the CLA with CLA drums. And for my overheads, generally, is you just want them to be a bit brighter. So I'll use this, make it bright. I don't want anything coming down here. For the room A, where is my second room? It's my room B. For the rooms, let me hear how this sound. Not bad. I think that's fine for my rooms. Now, basically, I just keep sculpting from here to fit the mix. I keep sculpting till it sounds right for the song. I think you don't really need so much plugins in your mix. That is the plain truth. Truthfully, you don't need so many plugins to get a great sounding mix. So I think my drums are sounding very okay here. Uh, so I'm going to jump into the replacements. When I add replacements, what do I do? How do I make them sounding even better than it is right now?